Will Ainsworth from Openn Negotiation. Thanks so much for joining the series, mate. Great to see you again.
Thanks, Trent. Thanks for having me on. Looking forward to it.
Hey, so tell me a little bit more about Openn Negotiation. So how does it actually work, and how does it differ from me as Mr. Buyer submitting an offer to a real estate agent?
Yeah, it's a good question. So Open Negotiation was born about 3 years ago, basically out of the necessity for changing some of the traditional methods of sale that everyone's accustomed to: auction, private treaty, or private sale. So both those methods have some, really good concepts to them, such as private treaty and sale. You can have conditional buyers, so it opens it up to a bigger buyer pool. Whereas with auctions, there's transparency, there's a timeline, or a deadline, I should say, and creates competition. So both of those methods have great positives, but particularly with private treaty, where I imagine every watcher of yours has been in a position where they wanted to make an offer on a property, but there was another offer. They didn't know what they had to pay. They didn't know whether there actually was another offer. All those lack of transparencies that come out of, or were born out of private treaty, Open Negotiation basically closes the door on those and just creates complete transparency for consumers.
So I guess, how does that improve the buyer experience at the moment? Obviously, you just talked about some openness and I guess transparency about that. Is that the main kind of benefit, that I'm a buyer and I actually get to see what's going on now rather than what is happening? Where does my bid actually sit?
Well, inevitably, if a buyer wants to make an offer on the property, typically if it's not an emotional purchase, such as an investment property or, for instance, then a buyer will usually look at comparable sales and analyse the figure they need to pay based on comparable sales. And particularly in a market that we're in at the moment, where there's what's called the fear of overpaying. They don't want to be seen to be one of those buyers that pays too much. Whereas if you take that away and you allow competition and transparency, if there's 4 buyers there and someone's prepared to pay, call it $1 million, then that's now created the market. So therefore the next buyer is prepared to pay a little bit more and a little bit more, and so on and so forth. So the other buyers are comforted when they see other buyers prepared to pay a certain amount. And inevitably, hate to say this to the buyers, but they usually pay more than they would in a different environment.
Yeah. So I guess talk me through the process now. So how does it work? I'm a buyer, I'm interested, I sign up to Open Negotiation, I create a profile. There must be some kind of, I guess, screening or identification. So how does that process work to get me to actually submitting an offer?
Yeah. So unlike the other online auctions, so to speak, every buyer has to put in a bid and then sign a form of a contract with Open Negotiation. So there's no worrying about contracts at the end because they've already pre-signed it. So the vendor can rest assured that they've already qualified to meet their requirements. So the vendor always signs off on the purchaser's terms. So when a buyer puts in a bid, they put in a number on the app, and then they have to submit their terms, such as their name, their address, their deposit, and their settlement, and any conditions that they might have. So the seller gets to see what those are, and then they agree or accept or decline them based on their circumstances. So when a buyer is then qualified, they can now bid on the property for as much as they want, knowing that all the paperwork's already been done. And because it's online, when there's other bidders, they know that the other bidders are real because they've actually been through the same process as they have. It's not a fictitious buyer who, has just put in a bid and they're a friend of the owners. They are 100% bidder who's already pre-signed a contract.
And how's the industry take up? Obviously, you guys have been around for a little while now. How is it seen within the industry? Is it, I guess, a positive? Do some real estate agents kind of say, no, I like the traditional model, I'm going to stick to it, and other guys are a bit more, I guess, I don't know, forward thinking, I guess? How's that kind of play out?
Probably like every industry, there's probably the leaders and the followers, and there's the sort of 10 or 20% of the market who are innovators, and they're the ones that have naturally had the take up, like I did as a real estate agent. And then when I started doing it, lo and behold, my competitors in the area started to see what the benefits were and then started to want to use it as well. So at the moment, we've been around 3 years. We've had a really big uptake of it, particularly during COVID, because you can buy properties online and never actually have to touch a pen or be in person with the vendor or the agent. Whereas the agent does a lot of the work over the phone with the buyers and the sellers, or via Zoom, if you like.
Gotcha. Contact details. How do I get in contact if I'm I guess either a real estate agent wanting to, I guess, use it, or even if I'm a buyer and wanting to kind of get on and submit a bid? What's the best way to get in contact with you guys?
So the website is www.openn with 2 N's, so openn.com.au. So you can go there and check out all the information, or you can, if you're an agent wanting to utilise the process, you can contact me 0438 299 001, and I'm happy to take any calls from any agents.
Awesome. Will Ainsworth, so thanks so much for joining the series with Soho, mate. Great to see you again.
Likewise, Trent. Thanks so much for having me. Cheers, mate.
Thanks for watching. If you want to check out more, visit sohoapp.com, or if you're looking at adding your properties into Soho and connecting your CRM, check out the links in the description below.